Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Holding a handful of water and slapping it on his face, Jose slowly raised his head and looked at himself in the mirror. He was a little haggard. As an emergency doctor, this haggard seemed to be a standard match. Dr. Zhou, a new patient will be here soon. It seems that he fell down from upstairs. I don't know if he committed suicide. Wang Ye, a nurse, stood at the door of the men's bathroom and shouted. I see. I'll be right there. Jose responded with a sound, then took out a paper towel to wipe the water drops and started to walk out. The ambulance soon drove into the hospital. On the stretcher car lay an old man in a gray tang suit. The old man kept coughing. From time to time, blood froth and fragments of spleen organs were coughing out. All over his body was blood-stained. Jose immediately ran to see the injured while pushing the stretcher car. At the same time, he shouted to the person in front. Prepare the surgical instruments, hurry up. The condition of the injured is very bad. I don't want to die. The old man opened his eyes and looked at the nearest Jose. Don't worry, you will be okay. We will help you. You can't die. Most of the dying patients will say this at this time. There are only a few people who can really face the death peacefully. As a doctor, at this time, of course, it's not to analyze the condition with the injured to tell you how sure you can survive. What the injured need at this time is psychological comfort. No, now it's really terrible below. The old man suddenly grasped Jose's wrist and looked at him seriously. You calm down and relax. There's no problem with your life. Although there was some pain in the wrist, Jose didn't try to get rid of it. I don't want to go on. They found me. Hiss. Jose suddenly felt a sharp pain in his wrist. Dr. Zhou, your hand. Cried the little nurse at once. The old man's nails are very long, and I don't know why. His nails are black, which is similar to amber and transparent black. It doesn't look like dirt gathering inside. At this time, the old man's nails have been embedded in the flesh of Jose's wrist. I won't go down no more. Don't go down. Ha, cough, cough. The old man suddenly straightened up and coughed violently. Then, his body trembled. He grabbed Jose's hand and fell off. The whole man lost his movement. Prepare for rescue. Cried Jose. The old man was pushed into the emergency room, and doctors and nurses began to rescue him. Meanwhile, the electric shock apparatus was also prepared. Dr. Zhou, I'll help you with the wound. Wang Ye comes here at this time. As doctors, they are not really worried about this skin and flesh injury. What they are most worried about is that if the elderly have other diseases, it is likely to put the doctor into the dangerous situation of occupational exposure. After all, the elderly just have a lot of blood on their hands, and no one knows whether they have any infectious diseases. Some diseases, a little infected, may be destroyed in a lifetime. After the wound was bandaged, another doctor came out of the emergency room and shook his head at Jose. This means that no one has been saved. Everyone's mood is a bit lost, but for them, this kind of thing has been used to, and will soon be adjusted. Dr. Zhou, have a check. Up. Wang Ye suggested. No, I have something else to do at night. Jose shook his head, went directly to the dressing room and changed his clothes, then went to the hospital parking lot to drive away. As soon as the car reached the viaduct of Jianghai Avenue, Jose's cell phone rang. Hello, this is Jose. Dr. Zhou, the children are waiting for you. I'm sorry, Mr. Wu. There is a patient who has been delayed. I'll go right now and ask the children to wait for me for a while. Good. There was a quick hang-up. Jose looked at the time again. It was already 8:30 p.m. and the children in the orphanage usually went to bed very early. The red light changed to green. Jose stepped on the accelerator and drove on. Duh. At the same time, a heavy truck ran through the red light. José only had time to look sideways at the dazzling high beam light outside the window, and then, bang. The car, like a delicate white paper in front of the heavy truck, was directly hit and flew out, and after several laps in the air, it fell to the ground. Air. When José woke up, he found that his body could not move at all, as if it was stuck. At the same time, he could not open his eyes. He knew that he had a car accident, a very serious car accident. Out of professional quality, he wanted to check his injuries now, but he could not move around. From time to time, there are sounds of other vehicles passing by, as well as various llama sounds. Am I still at the scene of the accident? Am I still in the car? José thought in his heart. Soon, the siren of the police car and the sound of the fire truck, finally, the ambulance siren that made José feel kind came. José feels that his body is being moved, and the temperature nearby is slightly higher. He should be cutting his car to rescue himself. José has participated in many rescue activities and is clear about some processes. Unfortunately, the cake in the car behind the Children's Day and the Children's Day party in the orphanage children can only be wasted. Dr. Zhou. Familiar call. It should be Dr. Chen in the hospital. José has a long sigh of relief in his heart. At least, he has saved his life. This is a disaster. There are also several nurses nearby. José can't hear them clearly because of the noise nearby. But next, Dr. Chen's words, let José's heart plunge to the bottom. Dr. Zhou lost his vital signs. No, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I'm not dead. José cries desperately in his heart. He's not dead, he's conscious, he's not dead. Next, José felt that someone was doing cardiopulmonary resuscitation for himself. He felt the heavy pressure again and again, but he could not open his eyes or speak. He's not dead, he wants them to find out soon that he's not dead. But after a busy conversation, José heard several nurses crying, and Dr. Chen punched the door nearby, which was very sad. Hello. Don't give up. Don't give up. I'm not dead. I should be in a state of pseudo-death now, too much blood loss. Seriously hurt. But I'm not dead. I should have breath, I should have heartbeat. José roared wildly at the bottom of his heart. But then he sensed that he had been carried on a stretcher and was supposed to be in an ambulance. Then there was the sound of the ambulance moving. The nurses in the carriage are still crying. But this kind of cry is extremely harsh in José's ear. He is not dead yet. Cry. Why cry? Look at me again, check again, I'm not dead. The ambulance stopped, and then José heard the voice of the hospital leader. Is this the case for Zhou Shaoran? The accident was very serious. Dr. Zhou was injured excessively and lost too much blood. He has been confirmed dead. Really? That's how it's gone. The other vice president didn't believe it. Xiao Zhou is gone. This is the voice of a department director, I just checked it again. I'm not dead. You quacks. I'm not dead. You bastards. Asshole. At this moment, these people around him are no longer his colleagues, friends, leaders and elders, they actually think they are dead, but can the dead still hear the voice and feel it? I'm not dead. You bastards, brutes, I'm not dead. Help me. Help me. The stretcher car started to push, it was quiet all around, and the temperature was gradually decreasing. Xiaoya, don't be too sad. The dean said that there will be a memorial service for Dr. Zhou in the hospital tomorrow. Sister Suqin, I just can't believe it. Alone, it's gone. Dr. Zhou is such a nice person. How could it be like this? If there are unexpected events in the sky and misfortunes in every day, it's good to be open. When the two nurses had finished, they left. All around, it's empty, it's cool and clear. José kept struggling, trying to resist. He wanted to wake up, he was eager to make his own voice. But now he feels like a ghost pressing the bed. He is allowed to work hard, but his body is not under his control at all. Finally, he gave up in despair. He was tired, he was also tired, he knew where he was, in hospital, morgue. When José woke up again, he felt a light coolness on his face, and the tingling was also very clear. Have you finished making up? Someone asked by the side. Don't worry. Wait a minute. He's been hit like this. How can he make up so fast? The hospital is urging him to go to the morning party. Why don't you come? The undertaker seems to be a little angry. When they make up, they work harder. Of course, the clients they face are dead people. The dead people naturally don't say it hurts. They don't have to worry about receiving complaints. They just need to let the living see the results. José has no energy to struggle, he just stays so quietly, bears the tingling feeling of the makeup pen pressing on his face continuously. Finally, the makeup is over. Well, call them in, we're done. José felt that he was being changed, and then he was pushed out. The hospital's paramedics carried him to a soft and cramped space. This should be an ice coffin. Then, all the noise around was isolated in an instant, and the cover should be closed. Shake, shake, bump. I don't know how long later, José finally heard the voice again. The ice coffin cover should be opened. In the ear is sadness. The dean is making a speech with the microphone, praising himself, regretting himself, then the vice dean and the director and so on. Around, there are footsteps passing by from time to time. Some people just walk quietly and look at themselves for the last time. Some people still try to shout themselves a few times, with a cry cavity. This is a look at the remains. Look back, my remains. I'm not dead, I'm not dead, I'm not dead. Not dead. José wailed in the bottom of his heart. He began to try again, but still couldn't help. He could only hear and feel, but he couldn't speak, and he couldn't open his eyes. Everyone believed that he was dead, but he knew that he wasn't dead. The children of the orphanage came and wept beside him. They cried very sincerely, because José himself was also a child coming out of the orphanage. So after work, most of his salary was donated to the orphanage. The accident was also due to driving back to the orphanage to Children's Day. Xiaozhou, you can go safely. This time, you have no family. But your compensation hospital will give it to the orphanage. Don't worry. Vice President stood beside José and said. Later, José felt that he was isolated again, and the ice coffin cover should be closed again. Then there was another jolt. Finally, it stopped. The ice coffin lid was opened again. Around it, there was some silence. Occasionally, people were heard, but there was no noise. There are two people, one is holding his shoulder and the other is holding his legs to lift himself up, and then put him on another cold shelf, like steel plate. These two people are very skilled, very skilled. There was a faint cry around. José didn't know where he was at the beginning, but at this time, he suddenly understood, son of a bitch. They sent themselves to the crematorium. They're going to burn themselves. I'm not dead, you bastards. Fuck your ancestors. I'm not dead. Not dead yet. Don't cremate me, don't cremate me. I'm not dead yet. You bastards, bastards. Son of a bitch. This is José's craziest and craziest time. He knows that once he is cremated, there is no room that he will face death directly. The end is complete. He's not willing, he's not willing, he's not 30, he's not married, he has no children, he has life, he has a long way to go. Mom, I just saw this uncle's manual. A little girl's timid voice sounded nearby. Pa. A little mouth fan passed. Don't lie about it. I'll get you back. The girl's mother scolded. Jose is desperate, because no matter how he struggles, how he roars in the bottom of his heart, no one outside can feel it. He was placed on the conveyor belt, the machine started, he was being pushed forward, he knew what he was going to face, so he was terrified. No, no, no. I'm not dead, I'm not dead. Don't burn me. Don't burn me. No one can hear their call, they are only responsible for sadness, they are only responsible for sadness, they are only responsible for the completion of this process, then they go home for dinner and continue tomorrow. At last, Jose felt that he seemed to be pushed into a narrow place full of the smell of oil residue, then, adhesive liquid sprayed on him, he knew what it was gasoline, next, ZZ. Hot. Very hot. Pain, severe burning pain. Fire, 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 fire is everywhere. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.